All right.
Okay.
Ooh, and we got amethyst on the table. I look like amethyst today.
Extra water.
Exactly.
Welcome to another episode of the Educating Earthlings podcast. Today we have my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous friend, Seven, also known as Phoenix, aka, I don't know.
Seven, Phoenix, my real name, Thais.
Okay, so Seven is a published model, photographer, creative director, tarot advisor, surrealist artist, and content producer.
Yes, I got many hats.
Yes, and you are very gifted in all of these areas. Can you tell us just like a bit about what you do and kind of like how you gathered these different realms of being a creatrix?
Yes, definitely creatrix derives just from, it's a feminine energy that really allows you to embody many different elements. But it really has to do with versatility and just really allowing yourself to embark on many different, I guess you can say, parallel universes of gifts. So I really just started like with art. That was like my first love. And you can see it in everything that I do. I'm still an artist at heart. Everything that I do comes from color, boldness, and creation. So there was a moment where I realized that art just was something that I really wanted to do for fun, but it wasn't really like a career choice that I wanted. So I was doing modeling, and I actually bridged into modeling from music, and I was doing music with my friend. We were doing a lot of like singing and rapping basically, and there was a moment where his stepdad and mom asked us to be a part of the fashion show. And he was so nervous because he was the producer of all of our music. And he was like, no, I don't think we're ready yet. I think that we should, just think about this or just not do it at all. And I'm like at this point in my life at that time where I just really wanted to step into my greatness and step into my creative flow. So I said, fuck it. And I did the modeling portion of the fashion show. And so that's how I got into modeling. But I just felt when it came to modeling, there was really like a lack of representation photography wise, along with creative direction wise. There would be many photographers that would be like, oh, you're curvaceous. We should do a bikini shoot, or we should do like a bourgeois shoot, which is basically lingerie for those that don't know. And not that those weren't great ideas. It was more along the lines of, what else can we create? I mean, you have like $1,000 camera. What exactly can we create with this camera and really just like expand like our creations? So I started getting to the point of being bored with other photographers. And I was like, what if I can just like, I know what I should look like. I know what the makeup should look like. I know what the styling should be. If I can just find someone that could help me just capture what it is that is right inside of my mind. And so I started working with just really dope, I would say, reliable photographers in San Diego. And I didn't even know I was a creative director until someone told me, and they were like, hey, did you creative direct this whole vision? And I was like, I guess. I mean, I had no idea. This is kind of just fun for me, it's just, I want to do this and just like make this vision. So yeah, it wasn't until later in, I would say, my creative direction journey that I didn't even know there was a title to it. I really was just doing it for fun. And I switched from me basically being the muse to having muses. So I've done music videos, I've done album covers, I've done a lot of different things with my visions.
I want you to expand it just like a little bit more if you're okay with. So with like tarot and astrology, how has that tied into your like creative endeavors and like your path? Because I feel like, I mean, creativity and like artistry and all of this, and then there's like the astrology tarot side, but they so like much go together, or they can so much go together if you have the vision. So I am curious about your vision on that.
Love that. So I had a friend, and there was this one day she was talking to me, and she was like, have you ever looked at like tarot videos on YouTube? And I was like, no, like, I think that's demonic. Like, I grew up really religious, Jehovah's Witness. We talked about this before. So, like, when she talked to me about it, I was completely against it. I was completely denying what she wanted. And I was like, you know what? I kept getting these downloads to just check it out, check it out, check it out. And so I finally looked into it, and I was like, I feel like this world that I knew existed, but because I was so removed from the metaphysical world, it just like it all aligned and it all just like made sense. Ever since that moment, like I started doing readings for me and my friends. I only had like a deck of cards. I didn't even have my first tarot deck yet. And once everyone kept telling me that it resonated with them, I said, okay, I think it's time for us to get our first deck. And there's like this, you know, like this I would say advice or this wisdom in the tarot world that you have to be gifted your first tarot deck. But of course I went completely against that, and I bought it myself. I mean, I bought every deck that I had. There was a couple of them that were actually given to me, but I just felt so called to do it that I wasn't going to wait for a person to give me that opportunity. I obviously am a person that creates the opportunity. So when I brought my deck, we're just inseparable. I mean, I have like over probably 30 or 40 at this point. And
tarot decks. Oh yeah, I've seen your collection before.
You've seen my bookcase.
I love, like, some of them are so unique and like different themes.
And that's where my artistry kind of like weaves into that and alchemizes the whole thing. I definitely feel that when it comes to tarot, I say this with everyone, every creative, you need some form of spirituality in this world. I'm not one of those people that judge someone, you know, based off of their spirituality. I just say go with what aligns most with you and your path. And so tarot for me, that's my religion, that's my spirituality, and it's always on point. It helps me with career, it helps me with friends, it helps me with like my significant others. If I'm talking to someone, it just brings that clarification. I always say, of course, have your own consciousness, but I just feel that it's one of those tools to really help you with like clarity. I feel like it's a gift that I've been given to like channel for the community. I just consider myself a messenger and not really like a godlike source, but I feel we are all connected to a higher power, so I'm just here to channel. Nice. I feel like my words today are kind of just like stifled or like folding into the other one, you know, when you like put two words together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully, I know that in your chart we have a connection that will activate your throat and your emotional, actually, when we're together.
I love that.
And it creates a channel that makes it a lot easier for us to speak our emotions like into the ethers and like the energetic field.
I love that.
So hopefully this conversation will give you a little bit of like clarity in that throat chakra. But we can take a little sip and a little break really quick.
Thank you. It smells so good.
Next, we're going to explore your human design chart and how your energy aligns with like kind of how you got here, what you do. So you have sacral authority. So you have an open emotional, sacral authority. How do you follow your gut? And what does that full body yes feel like for you?
Ooh, I love that. And it wasn't until you really described that like when you first described it to me, that I finally had, I guess you can say, a not just a title, but just like an idea of how to like digest it. I could never explain it beforehand. So the way that a lot of my creations work is I could just look at a person and be like, oh, like I know exactly what you could look like. I know exactly, I can see the whole vision. You can't see it, but I can see it. And it really comes from a channeled like thought. It's not really like a There's no other way of like describing it. It really is just instant, and it's instant for me when it comes to creation.
Yeah.
I say emotional wise, it can get kind of entangled, but I'd say creative wise, it's almost like this open channel, and it's probably because I allow it to be open. You know, there's not really like an ego that gets in the way,
literally,
or pride. You know, it's just like, this is what I'm feeling. This is exactly what's going to happen. I see the whole vision. So usually like when I'm working with other people, if this is specifically my project, I like to give birth to the full project, you know, like that. I know what it should look like because this is literally a channeled message. So I don't know how else to get that out to other people, but it's confirmed in my chart.
It is. And you're literally just speaking on a few of the channels that you have in your chart. You have the head space and third anja activated. And it's literally called the channel of awareness.
Period.
The channel of awareness gives you mental clarity and insight. And I feel like that's where those downloads like directly come from. They come from source. They come from you. They're not coming from like your environment.
Right.
You're like, they're not coming from like a transit that comes through. Like this is you. This is your consistent energy with those divine downloads and like intuitive visions that come through. How does that show up, and how is it tied to like your tarot practice, and how or even your creative side of things as well?
So when I first started reading and people would tell me that it resonated, I started realizing that I would get these downloads. Like I always tell people, like even if you get the exact same cards as someone else, the message is similar but different. Like it's the way that it gets channeled. So like I give you an example. There was this time where I would use these cards all the time. It's one of my goddess decks, oracle decks, and there was this woman who invited me to give a reading to her and all her family. Okay. And I literally gave a reading to her, and I saw the Aphrodite card. I always see this card. I always see this card, but for not some reason, but the sacral started speaking to me, like talk about Greece. Like that's all I heard was Greece. And she was like, you know, that's so crazy. We are literally going to Greece in December. Like that's so it comes to me. It's instant. Like if I really just like sit there and allow it to come through, I could really get channeled messages that just make sense for the person. So like a lot of my tarot readings are along those lines of accuracy because I have such a channeled message. Like it's so tailored to whoever I'm giving the reading to. This wouldn't make sense to anyone else. It would only make sense to you, you know?
I can attest to that. Like literally every single reading that I've done with you has been like spot on. It just is like, it's everything that like you need to hear in that moment. Like maybe you subtly know deep down somewhere, but it's just like unrevealing or like unveiling or like opening the zip, whatever it's hiding behind. Discovery. It's just like, it's revealed. Yeah,
I'm like practicing now. How can I do it without the tarot? So I'm like really like, because I'm like, it's so powerful.
I just got goosebumps. I'm saying I just got goosebumps. Like, wow, like, that would be so powerful because like you could definitely, this is like something that energetically like available in your consistent energy in your chart even. You also have the sacral root spleen activation. And with the sacral root spleen activation, you have the channel of mutation and the channel of preservation. You're literally designed to innovate and protect what's sacred, as well as these mental downloads, like pairing that together.
100%.
Oh my gosh. With the sacral spleen root activation, what's one way you have used your creativity or your projects or like anything that you bring into this world to preserve or rewrite spiritual truths that you believe in?
I feel like this is my life. One way I'm doing that right now is by creating my own tarot deck. Alchemy is so important to me. I feel like, especially as a person who is a creatrix and I'm juggling multiple things, how exactly can I transmute the message, but also find a way to alchemize the vision, you know? With my tarot deck, I was like, okay, how can we like create something that someone hasn't seen before, but it still has a familiarity to it, but there's still the sacred knowledge of it that will still be behind the overall project. Like, it may be my own vision of a tarot deck, but it's still along the lines of the 78 traditional tarot deck, you know? Like, it's still the same, the sun card, the hermit card, it's still a part of the whole process. But I wanted to create it in a way that I felt could really, again, alchemize all of the things that I do. So I put my photography, my creative direction, my styling, my makeup, I mean, everything that I've done for myself and other projects is in this project. So I would say that's one way for sure.
Amazing. Okay, how about I maybe want to expand just a little bit on this question. So like, I'm wondering if you can elaborate a little bit more on having like that sacral spleen root activation, where it's like you're designed to kind of like preserve or rewrite that spiritual truth, like for your spiritual truth. And I'm wondering like as in like where you came from, like how you have, and you use the word alchemize, like an alchemist. How have you like preserved or rewritten your own spiritual truths for yourself?
Okay, I like this.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I feel like I comprehend now. I would definitely say the biggest way that I've rewritten my history but also preserved it was spirituality. Like, that's just like the peak. So Jehovah's Witness, it stems all the way back to my great grandma. So like, this was just something that was passed down traditionally, and there were moments where I did feel that they can speak truth. I think in any religious place they can speak a sense of truth, and I would say those areas I preserved, as in the way you should treat another person and like, you know, connect lightwise. And I'm like LIGHT, lightwise.
Yes.
I would say that that's what I really still preserve from that, but I changed it and rewrote it because I felt that a lot of my capabilities and just who I was as a person felt so stifled and stagnant and claustrophobic. Like, it didn't matter what I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it. It was bad this way, it was sinful this way. It just wouldn't make sense according to the Bible this way. So it was always like, I always felt like I was in a labyrinth. And so I decided to walk out and get out of that and create and rewrite my own way of what I felt spirituality should feel like, which is autonomy. Like, we all come from source. It shouldn't feel like you're in a box when you obviously have so many untapped and undiscovered things about yourself, details, characteristics about yourself that I feel you should embark on, especially on your journey as within this human experience. So yeah, I decided that I was going to start doing things differently. What's wrong with meditation? Why is yoga demonic? Like, I don't understand. It's like, you know, it's always made me feel so blissful when I did the yoga. It would always give me just like this natural high. And I'm like, all of these conditions that I've been conditioned to feel are either demonic or against what God would want, actually, in my opinion, are really just like, they derive. This is what people tap into. They tap into their source when they create things like this. So I guess I just rewritten. I rewrote. I definitely just, you know, rewrote my history. I said this is what I want to feel when it comes to spirituality, and I feel more tapped into my spirit than I have even in those early years because I'm so much more aware and conscious of it.
Yes, and it shows.
Thank
yes,
you.
Definitely.
Magic.
Lastly, just a few of the open centers in your chart. You have, like, especially obviously the open emotional, which we talk about a lot. So obviously, like, you know, clearing out emotions from others is very, very important in order for you to tap into that authentic, consistent energy that you hold. But you also have an open identity center and throat. So your expression is very fluid and it's very rich. Do you find that your sense of self shifts slightly whenever you are delving into a new creative project? And if so, how do you stay anchored in who you are across those different projects and roles?
I would definitely say I can be very adaptable. I'm a very adaptable person in everything that I do. However, there is a stubborn part of me as well that will never erase. It does not matter. It does not matter what I get into. I could try a completely different project, hobby, whatever it is. I'm always going to go according to my own rule book. Like, you can ask my parents, you can ask people around me. I'm a very rebellious person. I'm not, it's other people would be like, oh, you know, with this and this and this and this. And I'm like, no, I don't actually. And you know, that it could lead to me maybe having some sense of lack of education, but I'm really just that person that kind of just like throws myself into it and just like allows like my own characteristics to paint the picture the way that I would paint the picture. So like, for example, with like other readers, they'd be like, oh, have you heard of like this type of spread? And I'm like, no, I just kind of pull the cards according to like what makes sense for me. But that's just how I keep myself anchored in everything that I do. It's me listening to that gut that we talked about. Like, what do you feel how you should use this, or how would you embody this if you were to take on this role? So I always stay connected.
Do you find that your sense of self shifts when you start a new project or dive into another creative thing, like for example your candles? Yes.
Between like looks and creation, I'm never shy of being like, you know, I want to look like this today. You know, I want to do this type of project. So I would say, yeah, that's why I'm able to embody a lot of things, because I could see from different perspectives. Yeah.
Yes. That's like, it's literally right there in your chart. It's so cool to be able to like get my curious mind asking questions about this type of stuff with people, which is a big reason why I started educating Earthlings. Okay, so you have always said that you feel like the oddball out. How has that shaped your relationship with creativity, purpose, and your spiritual practice?
I would
say the black sheep of the family.
Yeah, I'm definitely her. I would definitely say how it's shaped me is because I'm so used to going with my spirit. It feels like I'm walking a path alone. And there's times where I have to just like remind myself that this is a part of the path, because usually if I create something, it could be probably even a year later, someone thinks it looks super cool and I'm already on to the next project. So a lot of the time, like being the oddball out, it helps with all of my creations, because like you can't really look at my shit and be like, you know, like someone that I know can create this. No, like this is really an embodiment of me being weird. Like me being like, I want that color. I want this to look like that. Like everything is so precisely detailed in my oddball kind of way that it sounds like it's dramatic, or like, you know, like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I guess you can just say it's a form of dramaticism, but it really takes a person to just be patient with my project. Everyone says that even after. They're like, you know, you just got to trust the process. And it's so true. I'm like, I could see it. I could see it. We just literally have to, you know, execute it. But I don't know. I'm going to start with this. Because I feel like this is more important to say. For those people who are oddballs, I definitely feel like you should maximize that potential. Okay. Not everybody's going to understand when you're an oddball, but that's what makes us so unique. And I feel that has made me unique on my path, is just being myself. And as much as there are lots of copy and paste people out there, a lot of people that like to go towards what makes them feel and is relatable, I think that's what's so important about art and why it's limitless. It's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to get you out of yourself and make you think outside of your experience. That is the whole point of art. So being an oddball is so important, no matter if you do art, music, whatever it is. I feel like art is in everything. So, yeah, being an oddball is sometimes it does feel kind of awk, right? But I wouldn't trade it for the world. There's like no other Thais. There's no other Seven. There's no other. Aww. And I can say that with confidence.
Aw.
Meow.
Do we want to talk about the birth of Planet 7, or we can do both, or Venus in the 7th house? Like, if they're, can you tell me a little bit about?
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the space to talk about this. I appreciate it. I definitely feel like Planet 7 is my website for now. I was actually going to change it to Level 7. But I feel like Planet 7 just makes so much sense because of all the things I do. And it's kind of just like a headquarters. But then I had someone tell me, they were like, you want to make sure everything is cohesive, like your website, your Instagram, and this. And I'm like, okay, but like, whatever. So I'm still pondering on that. That's TBD. Okay. But I can definitely talk to you about Venus in the 7th house. Planet 7 came about because, again, it's an alchemy of a world that all of the things that I do, you can find it on planet7.com, my website. So that's how that kind of came about. And I'm obviously not from this world, so planet makes sense. Venus in the 7th house. This was right before I went full entrepreneur, quit my job. It was actually during Virgo season last year, right before Venus. I mean, Libra season, for those that don't know. And I was sitting there and I just had a random download from my gut that was like, what about candles? I was thinking about making ashtrays. Which still would be dope. But I was thinking about making ashtrays from resin and like all these other ideas. And it just didn't sit right. It felt just like almost like an empty thought. It was just, I get them all the time. So it's like, choose which one makes the most sense. But candles. Candles. I was like, why didn't I think about this earlier? I love candles. Candles set the mood. I mean, every mood. Okay. So at first, I don't like to title things before I feel like I fully can give birth to them. I like to wait until the moment feels organic. And the moment I kind of sat there, I was like, should I call it sun in the 7th house? Because I have 3 placements in the 7th house. I have my sun, my Mercury, and my Venus. And I was like, Venus just made sense. And Venus came to me. I feel like it came to me because it was Libra season. So I was like, why does that feel right? And I got tingles and goosebumps like all over. So I said, this is the name. This is the name of the candle line. And it makes so much sense because I felt like it was an ode to my femininity. I feel like with my photography and creative direction is very bold, very eclectic, and like out of this world. But for the candles, I really wanted it to be again, just like an ode to my femininity. And I feel like who better than Venus than to connect everyone to their inner feminine. So that's how that name came about. And obviously 7, I wanted it to be spelled like my name. So yeah, we got rid of the original spelling of 7 and put 7th house.
And we have a little lovely little candle right here.
This was, this one specifically, this was our Valentine's Day one. This actually is an official, like, smell. I'm making this official on my TikTok shop. I literally just put this one as one of the classics. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I don't know. I don't think you guys know how challenging this was in the beginning. Okay, I knew aesthetically it was going to be stunning. That was the last thing on my mind because it comes to me so easily. It was, how can we get this one to smell effectively? Which obviously we can check that off the list. And also to burn all the way through. So originally it was not burning all the way through, but I had to get the right wick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the wick. So
the wick.
So wick and wax combination matters.
Matters 110%.
Because otherwise one will go Yeah. Okay.
To
do you recall your profile? Are you a 1-3? Does that recall?
3-5.
3-5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. 3-5. That makes more sense actually.
Yeah.
But the 1-3 is a very trial and error. So that's why I was asking, but I feel like you still get a little bit of that with the 3. And then the 5 is really going to like, I don't know if people tell you this randomly, but
please tell me.
It's like, like, have I met you before? Do I know you before?
Always.
Like, so many people are going to see like themselves or other, like their past or things in you.
That makes sense.
Like, it's very much reflection energy.
That makes so much sense. I get that all the time.
And someone's like, 5 has a 5 too.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think he's a 5-1.
Okay.
So it's different.
Yeah.
But, you know, still similar.
100%.
Like anyone with a 5th line, they might hear frequently like, have I met you before? Or like, do I know you from somewhere?
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
Yep. It just happens. And like, maybe there's something that's tied to that fifth line, like in the like other realm of things, like the non interpretation like of your chart realm of things, where it's like anyone with a 5th line, they were like making assignments, they as in like the gods or source or the universe or whoever she is making they were making the assignments for like, and they were like, all 5th lines are going to be like older souls because they've lived more lives, and like like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just like
my aura says this. Everything says I've lived many lifetimes.
So cool. You're one of my favorite human beings. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You heard that.
We were trying to do this on the last one. Can we make a little heart?
You know why? Because our human design makes more sense together. Maybe it's my nail.
Ew.
Yeah. Her.
I might keep looking at the screen instead of the camera, but whatever. You are a mystic.
Yes.
And what does being a mystic in this modern world mean to you? And what are kind of like some of the not stigma, like when people make assumptions, what's it called? I can't think of the word.
Not accusations, not assumptions.
Stereotypes. Yes, that's the word. So with being a mystic in the modern world, it does come with stereotypes. So how does that feel, and what have you like came across that you're just like, maybe I identify this and maybe I don't identify with this?
Ooh, I love that, because I like to be my own type. I definitely feel like I love being a mystic. Because I grew up the way that I grew up, I never really expressed it, let alone embraced it the way that I did until I've gotten older. But I've always had very prophetic dreams. So I would say something that is a stigma, a stereotype, is that everyone worships the devil. I'm like, okay, let's just get something straight. Okay.
I think that also definitely comes with like, like personally, like for you, you know, like not everybody, right? Yeah. Like some other people can grow up in other religious households that, you know, are able to go to yoga.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with yoga? Like, we meditate during those times. You're stretching your body. Like,
yeah,
you're supposed to stretch your body every single day for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Like, anyways. So I have that's a whole nother podcast conversation. But I definitely feel that's one of them. There's so many mystics that walk with the light, and then there are mystics that choose to walk in their darkness. I always say it depends on the integrity of the person as much as it also depends on the person's personal choice. You know, like, I know all these things. I know what the mystical world entails, but there's going to be many doors that open. I don't always have to go through every single door. Yes, there's going to be doors that open that are a little bit more dark and gory than others. And then there's going to be other doors that have butterflies and fucking, but there's times where you'll have to go through a transformation that does feel very intense. So I feel there is no mysticism without the light and the dark. And I always say that every single time. But it's your own personal darkness that you must transform through, instead of existing within just like this darkness of a world. I'm just not her. I like to walk in areas that just like make sense for my soul, and my soul in this life likes to walk with lighter things, but I'm still very much connected to the deeper parts of myself. And I think that there are a lot of people that should still acknowledge those parts, because they make up who we are. You know, like everything you've been through is so important to your overall journey, and it's not something that should be ignored. So I feel when it comes to the mystic part of not just myself, what I like to well, not just of myself, I would say something that I like to highlight as a mystic is trusting your inner voice, which many people would think that's dark, apparently. But your your intuition is not Satan. Let's just say that your intuition is something that is built within every single one of us, within the subconscious realm. Like, it's your inner femininity. I think that's another conversation we need to talk about later, is why femininity has been so bombarded, that we're not aware of these things, and that we shun these things, when really they are a part of every human. Every person could technically be psychic. It really is just about how you embody it and choose to embark on it. So yeah, I definitely feel, and I hope I answered the question right, but I definitely feel like mysticism is something that is meant to help you uncover and discover yourself, and go within yourself to uncover even threads of your ancestry, which is something you can't do just waking up every day and not thinking about it. So it brings a consciousness. Yeah.
Yes. It's so cool. That last bit you said is cool to talk about, kind of like unraveling your ancestry and like maybe past lives even that your soul has already lived.
Absolutely.
And like we can do that like actually for real, intentionally through our DNA. Like we can uncover our DNA energetically. There's only a certain amount of our DNA that like we're aware of. And as we like move through, I don't know, whatever our process is as humans, we uncover more and more of it. But there are ways that we can tap into our DNA that can give us like more. Yes. Human design is a tool that can help us with that. And so are gene keys, which is like another interpretation of those 64 gates. And I really, really love learning about the gene keys. It's insanely intense and crazy.
I learned about mine too.
You've talked with mutual of ours, Sierra, about your gene keys. It's so cool. Oh my gosh. Even just like learning about each individual one, you can like move through your own like DNA energy and unveil and uncover all of these secrets and like, it's just like, it's so cool. And I'm the type that definitely gets into learning about some stuff like this. So
yes,
we're going to have Sierra on educating her things one day. And I also loved that you mentioned having a religious background, some type of religious background. Like it can show up so different for different people, kind of like stepping into your self, your light, your whatever it is. Like I feel like I've met some people who are very powerful, like mystic energy, that are unintentionally using their gifts like for like evil shit. Like, sure. But they don't even know they're doing it. Like,
wild.
It's crazy.
Why?
And I'm just like, girl, do you know the power that you have? Do you know that you can like turn this inward and like use this energy on yourself versus like
Absolutely.
trying to like, I don't know, sabotage, like, why are we doing this?
It's the integrity of the person. It really is about the integrity of the person, because it can go completely left. You know, something else I do just want to mention really quickly is I feel like ancestral wise, like, you know, cultural wise and ancestral wise, when it comes to mysticism and just religion in general, we all grew up a certain way, but we all have that cultural background that they practice different spiritual, beliefs, and their belief systems were different, especially like back in the 1600s. So again, that's why I talk about doors, because it's your ancestry. So you'll always get callings from many different doors. It really is just about how you want to embark on your own spirituality in this life. Yeah. So I broke that door down with religion. I don't do voodoo. That's something that is in the Creole background. But I definitely feel when it comes to my own voice, I wanted to, again, embark on something that made sense for me. And I'm glad that I also broke that structure of religion. Yeah, man.
Because I have actually, I don't know, the last time I haven't had a stable income, like a job that you're going to, and you're like trading time for money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just spoke with another guest that will be on the podcast, and she's a productivity strategist. So she works with people on like how to use your time efficiently and get more done in less amount of time. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one that's going to be the kicker, because like you can have financial freedom when you work for yourself. You can have financial freedom.
Yeah.
You can have that location freedom. And like ideally you would also want to have that time freedom. But if you haven't quite like figured out what works for you,
Right.
then you're not even going to be like, you're just going to be consumed with all of the tasks, all of the things that you need to get done in order to receive whatever it is, like payments from your your membership, or like sales on your website, or all of like the things that
people would need.
People monetize.
You're right. Connection.
We had also talked about monetizing habits.
Ooh.
Our habits. Not habits. Monetizing hobbies.
Oh yes. See,
such
I'm telling you,
such a close
mind.
close word. Okay, so like, monetizing hobbies. Yes. Okay, great, cool. But what's one hobby that you absolutely love that you have not monetized?
My art.
Yeah. Okay.
Hands down.
So you don't, so that's something that you don't sell. This is something that you create for yourself and like just create and
I mean, if someone commissions me for a piece, okay, cool. But like, am I going out and selling them? I was at one point, but I realized that it was really like depleting my love for it. Like it was like diminishing the whole reason why I create art, because the art world is so fucking anal. Okay. It's ridiculous. But I'm like, that's the form of self-expression, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like self-expression has literally become what other people think your self-expression should be. It's no longer about the self. So I wanted to keep art for myself, because I'm like, I love art. It makes me feel so happy knowing this came from your sister.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a beautiful, like, it should be just happiness. It should be like an exuberant feeling. It shouldn't feel like a job. I don't want it to feel like a job at all. I'm okay with photography being a job. I'm okay with creative direction being a job, because it's a lot of work. You know, I'm okay with candles being sold, but there's some candles I'll just probably make for my house, because it's such a cool, like,
yeah, like I like this one the best. This one's special. Mine.
It's mine.
Mine.
Literally, and like in the bath with the bubbles on my feet, like with the candle burning.
So lovely. Okay.
Okay.
What advice would you give to other artists or creatrixes who feel called to step into their own multi-dimensional magic?
Ooh. I would say, what advice? One advice I would say is you could really create and embody anything. What I love about the creatrix energy is that it is versatile. Like I mentioned before, you have I would even say, like, you could compare being a creatrix to a jack of all trades. Like, it basically is like the feminine energy of that. Like, that's basically what it is. So the only reason why, okay, I'm able to do all of these things, I think people just think that I woke up and I'm like really great at all these things. No, it was because I just said, you know what? I want to see what this is. You know, like, I want to try this. It really is about just starting and not overthinking it. Not everything, again, has to be monetized. It can be something you just do. Like, if it's pottery, you're like, oh, that's cool, let me go try that, you know, let me go to a class. So I would say first start, try it, allow your curiosity to lead you. I would definitely say stay organized once you do figure out all the things that you want to do. I had to do process of elimination so many times, and I'm still like, I'm still juggling all these things because all of them are really just extensions of me. They're not really, you know, like, I love to do this one day and then the next day I may want to do this. So I go according to emotion as well. But when it comes to what I do all the time, that's something that I'm always never going to get bored with. You know, there's other things I kind of just like dangle, but when I'm holding it and I'm creating projects from it, I genuinely feel like those are things I could do every day. Yes. Stay organized.
Stay organized and just try it out.
Keep a calendar and try it out.
Okay, these are gonna be like a quick fire type of thing, so kind of just like you can keep your answer like a bit shorter here. We're not like trying to expand too much.
Okay.
And kind of what comes like up right away when you hear the question.
Okay. Excited.
What tarot card do you always vibe with?
High Priestess.
What's your favorite photo shoot concept ever?
Ooh.
It can be yours, someone else's.
Concept ever? Shit. Concept? I feel like the concept of surrealism. Does that make sense? Or no? That's
not to
it.
me, but
Shit.
Maybe it makes sense. Would you be able to just kind of like...
Yeah, the concept of surrealism is basically like it will always look like it's from like it's outer world. It's like it's beyond the reality. So it's like, I guess you can say it's like a fictional way of looking at
like
things.
Fantasy slightly.
Fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with surrealism.
Okay, I love that. One astrology placement that you have that feels like a superpower.
Ooh, that's a good question. I definitely feel like I want to say my Sag rising, but I also want to say my Taurus moon. I feel like my Sag. I'm going to go with my Sag.
Okay.
Sag rising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I love a Sag. So
period.
It's a good.
It gets me out of things.
Okay. Spirit guide, energy, animal, plant, or cosmic being. What's your spirit guide?
Cat.
Ew.
Hands
okay. Most rebellious thing you've ever created?
Ooh. I'd say the most rebellious thing I've ever created was a rap song about robbing a bank.
Oh. Okay. No, that's definitely like, should we like link that quick?
Crying. If I can find the
SoundCloud.
That's how like wild and long ago it was. I got a SoundCloud link. I'll find it and send it to you guys. That's so
Please
funny.
do. I would love to just like post a little like tag in here where it's like,
so wild.
Yeah. Okay. Just in one word, describe yourself.
In one word, transformational.
Okay. Yes. Amazing. Okay, so what would you like listeners to remember about embracing their individuality and divine purpose?
I want you guys to know to always tap into your divine purpose, even if it doesn't make sense for anyone else. Even if you're the only one who believes in this vision, do it. If you're the only one who believes in what it is that you can generate and create, you have the capability because you are the vision. I think there's a lot of people that can be, kind of held back because other people can't see it, but that's the reason why you were blessed with the vision, because you have the vision. So as a visionary, from me to you, always believe in your visions, keep going forward even if you feel like you should be giving up. Keep believing in yourself. Always stay educated. Always allow yourself to keep your ego in the corner. And even if you are the most inexperienced person in the room, always be curious and ask questions to other people that you can tell have more experience than you. And also always stay just aware and conscious, and love yourself throughout the whole process, even if it feels like it's quicksand in that moment. Pose. Be good in that moment. Because next thing you know, you may be at the top of the tree.
Yeah. I feel like that was flowing. That was just like...
that was poetry.
Yeah. Okay. Where can people find you, connect with you, explore your offerings?
So you can definitely find me on Instagram at level7. At level.7 VEN. And if you want to follow my candle page, it is Venus in the 7th house. And of course, 7, it's spelled 7 VEN. On TikTok, it's also Venus in the 7th house. So that's where you can find me. If you want my website, it's planet7.com. So yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing your fire, fluidity, and your vision. You truly remind us that being fully expressed is the spiritual path.
Yes.
And you're not just making art, you're shaping the collective imagination.
Thank you. Wait.
Cuties. Hugs.
Meow. Thank you. This was so fun. It's so cute. Now you guys saw all that ass.
Cheers. All that ass.
Her. My troubles have all gone. There's no one to beside me. My trouble have all gone. Wait, what? To underride me, but you gotta have friends.
Are you singing Shrek?
You know it.
That's not right.
I want some pasta. Oh, I like that up view. That looks stunning. Said, are you singing Shrek? I am. One of my favorite movies of all time. We are in Mercury retrograde. That makes sense.